Sergio Momesso, a 10-minute misconduct. Upset with no call on Creighton. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Lemieux on a feed from Creighton, splits the defense, takes his time, makes sure it goes to let it go. Was hooked at the last second. The puck went on its side and he shot it wide. Riendeau is making some great saves, and the Hawks squandering some good opportunities by poor marksmanship.
Now Roenick and Oates to the left of Riendeau. Oates winning the draw. The near board McLean. He cleared just outside the line. Roenick couldn't quite hold it in for the offside whistle sound. Mentioned game 4 Tuesday night back here in the arena in St. Louis. A 7:30 Central Time start for that one. Roenick, Thomas, and Lemieux for Chicago. Oates, McLean, and Gino Cavallini for St. Louis. The draw to Jocelyn Lemieux. Flips it ahead. Bob Murray to the far corner. Shoots one. Shot it wide. Wilson at the near point keeps it in. His long shot. Riendeau through a screen. Rebound. They score! From behind the net. Bob Murray banked it in off a fallen Riendeau. Murray was behind the goal line extended. He chipped it out in front off Riendeau and in, and this game is tied at 3.
It's amazing. All the good chances that the Blackhawks have had, all the terrific saves that Riendeau has made, and a goal like that ties it up. Off the drop, Bob Murray sneaks in, cranks it up, shoots it wide. Doug Wilson keeps it in. This shot deflected in behind the net. Bob Murray stayed there, put it out front. Riendeau diving back and hit him on the outside part of the left knee and deflected into an empty net. The Hawks get a big break. All the great chances they've had, and they tie it up on a fluky goal like that. Bob Murray just put it out front. Well, Lemieux and Doug Wilson will get the assists on Bob Murray's goal. Riendeau disgusted. He can't believe that's the one that ties it up.
He went to try to glove it, and when he fanned on that, the puck caromed off the pads and in, but Riendeau had the chance to smother with a glove, and he just whiffed, and it cost him a goal. And it's 3-3 as McLean, back of his own net, had trouble with Thomas. Now Lemieux dug it out to Keith Brown. He keeps it in for Thomas, who shoots one. Riendeau the save, rebound, just chopped away from Roenick. Now Roenick got to it. In behind the net it goes. Oates swings it around the boards. Yanni able to keep it in to the near corner. Thomas centered it. Roenick, he couldn't get off the shot as Gino Cavallini tapped it away. Now taken by Gord Roberts. And Roberts feeds Oates. Or Gino Cavallini, rather, who was tied up at center ice. Steve Larmer takes it away to Savard. Savard gains the line, peels off to the far side. Now trying to center it, just missing Gilbert. And Roberts able to clear it away. Here comes Ron Wilson. 2-on-2 into the Hawk zone, and Manson took him off the play. It rolled to the net where Millen covers it easily with 6.5 to go in the third. Chicago 3, St. Louis 3. Pat Foley and Dale Talon in the St. Louis arena. A suddenly somber St. Louis arena.
Nice alliteration.
I couldn't say it fast 10 times, though. Here comes Paul Cavallini. A shot tipped right on. Millen, great save. Rebound Manson. And he cleared it to Presley, who pushed it to center ice. That shot was redirected, and Millen was in the right place at the right time. Now Creighton trying to center it. Riendeau picks it off, was going to play it, and now thinks again and goes down to get a whistle.
The faceoffs have really hurt the Blackhawks in this contest, allowing the Blues a power play goal and some good offensive chances. Blues winning the draw, and Millen's first tough save. He's had 3 shots on goal. 2 of them just went to the crease, and one was a long shot by Momesso, but clearly this is the best chance of the period. The only scoring chance, really. The shot by Cavallini deflected right on target. I believe it was Brindamore who got a piece of it, who's had a terrific series, and Millen was able to kick it away. Meanwhile, at the other end, Zezel, after Riendeau stopped a Creighton attempt, Zezel tried to put it back towards Riendeau and almost put it under him.
Wilson to the right of Riendo. Now the draw to the near corner. Gilbert battles Paul Cavallini there. Then Savard came and dug it out. Savard trying to center it. Didn't get through Lawler. And now the Blues. Mike Lawler able to bank one back into Chicago territory. And Manson will have to play it. Here to the head to Larmer. Steve Larmer dumping it in, hoping for Gilbert. Chases in behind the net. He got a big hit there from Paul Cavallini. Then Savard took it away for Gilbert back of the goal. He took a bump there, then still tried to center as he was knocked down. It winds up behind the net again. Thomas trying to wrap around. They score! Steve Thomas on a wraparound. It may have actually been tapped in by a Blues player before it was over. But after great work, board work by Greg Gilbert behind the net, Thomas came to help him out, and Steve Thomas puts the Hawks in front for the first time tonight. 4-3.
What a shift for Gilbert. He got hit twice by Cavallini, once by Lawler, and another time by Wilson. Takes the hit to make the play, falls down. Kicked at by Thomas on a player change. Thomas and Gilbert behind the net. Thomas picks it up. He gets away from Cavallini. While he's going down, his attempt hit Lawler, came back to Thomas, and he hacked at it while he was down in the goal mouth. He tried the wraparound. It hit Lawler, came back to him, and somehow he was able to swat it past Riendo. But what an effort by Greg Gilbert. He was hit 4 times behind the net and still continued the battle and allowed the play to continue.
Gilbert and Savard are given the assists on Steve Thomas' 4th playoff goal at 14:38. 2 goals in just over 2 minutes for Chicago, and the Hawks have turned the tables on the Blues. First time tonight Chicago's been in front. Now here come the Blues. Brindamore for Hall. Oh, he overskated it, and the Hawks clear it. But the clearing effort winds up deflecting into the Chicago bench. Can you give 2 assists on 1 goal to the same guy? If you can, Greg Gilbert should qualify there.
That's amazing how many times he got whacked behind the net and still continued to persevere and forecheck and allow the play to continue. Thomas, 16-4 the shots on goal, and 1 of the 4 shots for St. Louis has been a scoring chance. The first shot came with about 8 minutes to go in the period, a long shot from just across the red line by Momesso. The other 2 shots he got credit for barely had enough steam to get to the goal mouth, and Greg Millen played both of them.
As you sat here watching the 3rd period, now the Hawks did have a couple of early power plays to help them get momentum, but in your mind, were the Blues maybe playing kitty bar the door a little too early?
A little too cautious. Obviously, the Hawks came out early, forced the situation, got some help with the 2 power plays for cross-checking on Featherstone, but the penalties were created by good forechecking from the Blackhawks as they forced the issue. And the Blues have been a good team protecting the lead, but maybe they sat back too soon.
Brett Hull cranks it up, but it deflects wide off of Conroy. Now Zezel near corner. Center one, Jeff Brown, a back pass. Roberts has to chase for it. Now takes the long shot. It scores! Scored Roberts! Shot one through traffic. It may have been deflected, and Greg Millen appeared as if he never saw it. And the Blues come right back and tie the game at 4.
Some unlikely goals here in this 3rd period. Behind the net from Bob Murray, a wraparound that failed by Thomas. The puck goes all the way around to the boards. Then Zezel gets it to Brown, and behind the back pass over to the point. Creighton goes out to try and shoot. Roberts just gets it through, and there are 4 players lined up right in a row in front of Millen, and he never saw it. It was in and out, and the Blues tied up on their 5th shot. And this basically their 2nd scoring chance. Roberts got it through Creighton, but there were 4 guys lined up right in front of Millen, 2 Hawks and 2 Blues, and he never saw it, obviously. In and out with 4:36 to go in the 3rd period. And the Blues tie it up 4-4.
They're going to say that puck was tipped in. Did they give it to Hull? I think they said Brett Hull tipped it in. Roberts and Brown have been given assists, I believe. We'll get an official call in a moment. Here's the draw. Roenick into the Blues zone to Presley. Behind the net, too far for Thomas. Now Yanni keeps it in to Presley for Thomas, side of the net, centering Presley, the shot, big save, Riendo, rebound, Riendo covers it up, and we remain tied. Just over 4 minutes for regulation time. Hawks 4, Blues 4. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
They give the goal to Brett Hull. Now he has 10. Brown and Roberts get the assist. Roberts cranks it up. Creighton goes out to the point. You know you're in trouble when the centerman has to go to the point. But meanwhile, 4 guys lined up, and Brett Hull apparently got a piece of it and threw Millen and in. So the 10th goal of the playoffs for Brett Hull,
who tonight has only 2 goals and 2 assists. 4-4, and the crowd back into it here in the arena. Here's the draw in the Blues zone. Kicked in front to Larmer, a quick shot and a save by Riendo. It was slowed in the process, and Riendo goes down to cover it up.
Bard and Wilson tied each other up. Gilbert had a stick tied up, so he kicked it back to Larmer. Larmer, who was slowed up, just trickled it towards the goal mouth, and Riendo made the save and throws the puck. 19th shot of the period for the Blackhawks, 5 for the Blues. $17,806 on hand here in the arena. To help spur the Blues on to the lead in the series. Well, you said it earlier. The 3 goals scored in this period are not going to make anybody's highlight film. But the Blackhawks with 2 unlikely goals grabbing a lead. And then Brett Hull with a deflection to tie it up for the Blues. Now here's the play out to center ice. Yanni, his pass broken up, bouncing around at center to Larmer. Larmer steps in over the line, over skating it in traffic. Savard, after a bouncing puck, was turned around. Out comes Rich Sutter. Sutter clearing it into the Blackhawks zone, but he had not reached center, and this will be an icing call against the Blues as we're down to 3.5 left in regulation time. One thing that really might have turned this game around as far as the Blackhawks are concerned, Rick Mahar in the second period was lost. He limped off and has not returned. Mahar and Wilson are almost double teaming Dennis Savard. Now it's up to Wilson to do the job, and Savard, Larmer, and Gilbert have had an outstanding third period.
How much information do you think we're going to get on Mahar's injury?
We don't get any information from any coaches in regards to any injuries, and they won't even let us interview any players.
Between Mike Keenan and Brian Sutter, it would be easier to get information out of the CIA or KGB than it would be to get any information out of these 2 guys. Can't interview players. That's the. What are you going to do? Talk about cars and clothes? Take their mind off hockey? Well, some things boggle the mind. Here come the Hawks now. Creighton put it in behind the net. Lemieux bumped there by Brindamore. They pin it up against the boards. Now Zezel in there. He's able to jam it loose. Here's a square off with Roberts and Creighton, and they're not going to go anywhere. So a couple of penalties coming up here. That was all right in front of Bill McCreary.
Well, Adam Creighton in game 2 took 3 retaliatory penalties that resulted in power plays for the Blues, and one of them went in. And he and Roberts get into a duel as Lemieux was trying to create something in behind the Blues net. Penalties coming at 16:46 of the third period. We expected this very type of series. We have not been disappointed. Tremendous action.
By the way, speaking of disappointing, I want to pass along happy birthday greetings to a gentleman who now is headed to the downward side of life. Peter Wirtz celebrating his 30th birthday today. Hope he enjoyed the first 30, because it's only going to slide downhill from now on, Pete. But a happy birthday, and we will not pain you with Dale Talon's rendition of Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Here's Roenick up the far side, battling with Gino Cavallini. Dropped it to Manson. A long shot, sailed up high. And McLean, trying to clear, did get it to center. Oates dumps it in from there. Dave Manson. And now the Hawk goal knocked off the moorings as forechecking Blues player collided with Millen.
Well, Millen very lonely in this third period. That little work, only 5 shots on goal. Meanwhile, his counterpart, 19 shots, 17 saves, 46 to 26 shot total. Hawks had 16 shots in the first period. We were down 2-1. Messer and Hall scored. Wilson had a power play goal for the Blackhawks. Manson and Brown scored in the second period. Jeff Brown on a power play to give the Blues a 3-2 lead, with 2 goals by Bob Murray and Thomas and a goal by Brett Hull. He's tied it up.
Now Yanni back of his own net. Gave it to Bob Murray. Sends it out to center ice. Taken there by Featherstone, who dumps it in. Yanni back of the net. Gave it to Goulet on the near board. Looking to clear. He did bounce it out to center ice. Now well behind the play, Sutter and Goulet have trouble separating. As the play is in the neutral zone, Lowry able to dump it into the Chicago end. 2 minutes left to go in the third period. All even at 4. Keith Brown puts Thomas to the line. Got it to Presley with a long shot. Riendo the stick save. Now Keith Brown, a drive, gloved by Riendo, and he hangs
on. 20th shot. Presley, who's been red hot in the playoffs, trying to go low to the glove side and sticked away by Riendo, and then the knuckleball shot from Brown might have gone wide. Too close for Riendo to let go, the way things have happened here in the third period.
Roenick, Presley, and Thomas on for Chicago. Zezel, Brindamore, and Hull for St. Louis. Now ready, the draw to the far corner, Thomas. Steve Thomas trying to center one, couldn't get it by Paul Cavallini. Now kicked loose to Zezel back of the net. Starts at 4, Hull, but missed him with a pass, and the Hawks will dump it back in there. Paul Cavallini hoisting one out to center. Dave Manson missing Roenick with a feed. Hull the other way, putting it over the line to Zezel, who shoots, and a save rebound. Oh, good work by Manson, who deflect the puck away, or the Blues had a great rebound chance. Here's Roenick on the counterattack, trying to cut for the net. Couldn't pull the trigger, and Riendo will smother it. And a good job by Paul Cavallini to tie up Jeremy Roenick as he cut for the goal without drawing a penalty.
Zezel at one end on the feed, breaks in on the left wing. Millen kicks it away with Brett Hull breaking in for the rebound. And then Roenick counters, breaks in on the far side. Tried to pull it back and then let it go, but he was hooked by Cavallini and didn't get much on the shot as it just trickled to the goal mouth. Dave Manson just swiping that rebound away from the Blues' Brett Hull. And the Blackhawks come right back.
Excellent play by Paul Cavallini to get around the body of Roenick to tie up his stick, and as a result he couldn't get rid of the shot. 70 seconds left in regulation time. Now Savard, Larmer, and Lemieux against Wilson, Lowry, and Sutter. Here's the draw. Rich Sutter on the right wing board. Clear to the center. The Hawks dump it back in as we head into the final minute of the third period. Bob Murray back into his own end. Murray gave it to Savard. Dennis Savard steps over the St. Louis line, trying to center it. Here's Larmer. Larmer waits for help, put it in front. Bouncing puck. Sutter hacked at it. Larmer able to hold it in though to Manson. Swings it around to the near side. Savard to the line. Wilson, a long shot, didn't get through. And now Riendo backing into his own goal mouth, knocks the net loose. And a whistle with half a minute left in the third period. The face-off will be to the right of Vincent Riendo. Thomas and Presley back on there for the visitors from Chicago. Oates comes on for the Blues with McLean and Gino Cavallini. Just one centerman on the ice here for St. Louis with a draw in their own zone. Roenick and Oates ready. And Oates won the draw to Paul Cavallini. Hammers it around the board. Back to center and McLean. Paul McLean got rubbed off by Yanni. Taken by Roenick on the far side. Swings it around to the near board. Gino Cavallini kept it in. Behind the net, Oates centered it. Oh, McLean missed it. Now Jeff Brown the shot. Millen the save. Rebound. Cavallini. They score! Blues win! St. Louis with 9 seconds left. Cavallini makes it 5-4.
Aggressively made the first save, picked out a rebound, then was down and couldn't get back up, and Cavallini, not known as a sniper, took his time and buried it. He made sure the face-off was inside the blue zone. There were 18 seconds when Cavallini pinched in. Puts it around, the backhand pass out front, misses McLean. It comes out to the point man. Roenick comes, the shot from Brown, the rebound. Cavallini with Millen down, and turns and fires and put it just under the crossbar with 9 seconds to go in regulation. It was a sudden death type situation, and the Hawks had to face off deep in the blue zone, but McLean rubbed off, carried it in. The Blues kept it alive. The shot from Brown, the rebound to Cavallini, and he makes them pay on their 6th shot of the period. The Hawks dominated the period, had a pretty sizable edge and chances in the game, but yet the Blues get 2 goals late in the third period. Hull deflected a robber shot to tie it up at 15-24, and the Cavallini goal with 9 seconds to go, and the Blackhawks down with only 9 seconds to go in the face-off at the red line.
First playoff goal of the year for Gino Cavallini, just his 13th career playoff goal, but he scored none bigger. Here's Thomas off the draw, knocked down. The play is offside anyway with 5 seconds left.
Off the draw, the Blackhawks might have had a chance, but Thomas just overhandled it at the line. Offside situation. They've killed off 4 seconds from the clock.
So this draw just outside the Blues line. A meager 5 seconds remaining. Cecil and Roenick are going to get ready. And Mike Keenan wants a timeout here. Calling timeout just now. It appears that McCreary is recognizing that, and they have to, Blackhawks somehow have to come up with a Hail Mary type play. 5 seconds for the draw outside the line. So the Blues in shape to grab a 2-1 lead in the series, and what a huge win it would be for St. Louis after falling behind in the third period for the first time all night. The Blues were down in this game with just 5.5 minutes remaining. But Brett Hull on a deflection scored his second of the night to tie it up, and then Gino Cavallini with 9 seconds left on a rebound is going to put the Blues in front in this series.
Brett Hull with 2 and 2. Jeff Brown with a goal and 2 assists. Bucks at a 4-3 lead with 15:24 gone in the third period.
All right, Millen's off to the bench. 6 skaters for Chicago. Creighton is going to go for the faceoff after getting some instruction here from Keenan. That's complete. So it appears that Creighton will be trying to pull it straight back to Yanni. And Yanni likely would throw it across to the right side where Roenick is stationed. And he'll hope to get a chance that way. Now ready, here's the draw. Zezel tied up. Creighton just falling on top of the puck. And a whistle with 2 seconds left. And now some pushing and shoving. Linesman able to keep everybody apart. And now it's a near impossibility for Chicago to force overtime. 2 seconds left with a draw 65 feet away. Over 17,000 are loving it. They drop the puck. The Blues win. It's official now. With another solid effort here tonight, and remember when Michel Goulet had 2 glorious chances in the middle part of the third period, and Riendo maybe there had his best sequence of the game. And the Blues have taken the lead in the series 2-1. And Riendo, who prior to this series had had a grand total of 11 minutes of postseason experience, is not showing any ill effects from his inexperience. He has performed more than capably so far for the Blues. The Hawks in the third outshoot St. Louis 21-7 and 48-28 for the game. But it's St. Louis that will head home the happiest. The Blackhawks started the scoring on Bob Murray's goal from behind the net, his first of the playoffs from Wilson and Lemieux at 12:26. Then Steve Thomas scored from the seat of his pants, tapping one in from the doorstep. Thomas's 4th playoff goal from Gilbert and Savard at 14:38, and the Hawks were in front for the first time in the game. The lead, however, lasted under a minute as Roberts took a long shot from the far point that Brett Hull redirected into the net. Hull from Roberts and Brown at 15:24, and then the game winner, Gino Cavallini on a rebound from Brown and Oates at 19:51. And the Blues have a 2-1 lead in the series. Your final tonight, St. Louis 5, Chicago 4.